Hello, everyone. So we're about to start our in-service meditation. I just want to give me 1 minute to pull it up because I was going to do it on video, but I'm going to just do it for speaking it. Okay. So today I decided, given the focus of November is about choices and being aligned with your highest consciousness when you're making choices, I decided that I would do a form of loving kindness meditation because I believe and I know that when you're in your most loving, your most kind, your most present state, you'll know exactly what choices to make in the moment. And so part of the purpose of this meditation is for each of you to know that place within you, the most kind, loving, present, compassionate place, and then allowing your choices to flow from that space. So that's the purpose of this meditation. So I invite you to sit quietly, to rest, to become still. And I don't just mean sit still, I mean become still. That your mind, your body, your brain cells, your heart cells, your skin cells, every aspect of your being, both physical, mental, spiritual, is still. I want you to be able to be so still that you can feel not only your body in the chair, but you can experience your heart beating. You can experience your skin sitting on your body, like you're so still that every aspect of you is in your awareness. You are calm, you are peaceful, you are still. So in this stillness, I invite you to take a few deep breaths. Take a deep breath. I want the breath to come, taking in and going all the way through to the bottom of your feet. So when you breathe in, I want you to literally experience the breath going fully through your entire body. And then when you exhale, I invite you to have the experience of exhaling through your entire body. So going in through your nose, going through your throat, going to your heart, to your stomach, all the way down to your feet. And then when you exhale, allowing that breath to just exhale through your entire body. Okay. And so as you become more and more present, I invite you to contemplate on the statements that I'm about to say, which are all focused on loving kindness. And as you listen and reflect on these statements, I invite you, just as when you breathed in and came out, that it came through your whole body. When you were still through your whole body. I invite you to allow these statements to not only penetrate your mind, your mental, but also your physical, your spiritual, your entire being. It's like you're speaking to every cell in your body. So I just invite you to, as you listen to these statements, as you meditate and contemplate on these statements, that you are allowing the memory of your spirit and your cells to just be reminded of the truths that are embedded in these statements. So take a deep breath in. Feel it in your feet. Take a deep breath out. I love me fully and completely. I love me fully and completely. Breathe that in. I love me fully and completely. I love you fully and completely. I love you fully and completely. There is nothing I can do that will change the love that is me. There is nothing that I can do to change the love that is me. There is nothing you can do that will change the love we share. There is nothing that you can do to change the love that we share. Because love is changeless. Love is who we are. Love is who we are, despite whatever we think we've done. We are loved and loved. I choose love now. Let that sink into your mind, your spirit, your cells. I choose love now. And as we go deeper, I am love now. I am love now. I see you. I see all things. I see everything in my world through the eyes of love. I see you. I see me. I see all things through the eyes of love. I see all things through the eyes of love. So I see clearly. When I'm looking through the eyes of love, I see you clearly. I see me clearly. I see the way forward clearly. I make powerful choices because love is the ultimate power that I possess and I bring to every single interaction. So I make powerful and profound choices through the eyes of love. I envision love guiding my thoughts, my feelings, my steps. I see my feet move in love. I invite you to picture a sand beach on a sand, and you walking and looking at every step you take as a step that comes from love. Just envision yourself walking by the beach in the sand, barefoot, and just imagine every step you're taking from a perception of love. And you look back and you see all the loving steps that you have taken. And you know that the steps that you have taken have left an impact on the world, on your life, in a way that is the most loving, the most kind. Love is carrying you. Love is showing you the way. You are never confused. You are never in disarray, because when you step into this perception of love, you know exactly what to do, what to say, what to think, what to provide, and you just keep stepping moment to moment to moment in those choices that are given rise by love. Take that in. I am compassionate with myself and with others. Love gives rise to compassion. And because I am stepping into love in each moment, and I'm stepping with a perception of love, I know that my words, my deeds, my actions, my inactions are bringing more and more expanded experience of love to every person I meet, I see, whether it's in person or virtually, because I bring the love. I bring the compassion, because I am the representative of love in every interaction that I am blessed to engage in. Every cell of my being resonates love. So I need not do nothing. I need not say nothing for love to be present, because that is who I am. And when I decide and choose to act, I know that my actions will carry the love, the experience of love that is who I am in every moment. So I let not my heart be troubled. I give up any trepidation in my steps, because love is assured, love is confident, love is definitive and clear. So any places where I may experience trepidation, uncertainty, lack of clarity, I invite love to embody who I am, so that all of that disappears like the fog in a foggy street. It just separates and disappears, because as I stand in love, as I see through the eyes of love, as I love myself and others, and I bring that forth, the ray of love clears the fog of my thinking, of my being, and I choose wisely. Just visualize yourself making choices from the perspective of love that generates kindness and compassion. I let the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable in love's sight, because love is our strength, love is our redeemer, love is the essence of who we are, and it makes our choices easy and clear. We join with each other in that space. Let that sink in. Love is the way shore. Love is the way maker. Love is the chooser. I am a vessel of love, and I recognize each and every person I contact, each and every person that comes to my mind, each and every person that I see on the TV, each and every person that walks down the street of my consciousness. I send them love. I send them kindness. I bring compassion. See in your mind's eye every interaction being shaped and molded by the love that you are in more and more expansive ways. My steps are ordered. My actions are clear. My path has been set. Love is the Lord of my life. I give thanks for the choices I'm making through love. I give thanks for the connections I'm creating with love. I give thanks for being a ray of love, no matter what the seeming circumstance is. I give thanks for this ability to be in this incarnation, in this time, in this space, being love, making choices with love, compassionately allowing love to move through and as me. I'm just grateful. We're grateful. And as we allow ourselves to just come back in this moment, I invite you to take a minute, think of all the people that you have interacted with, that you will interact with, particularly yourself, because you are interacting with you all day. See yourself giving each other a big hug of love, looking each other in the eye, looking yourself in the eye, saying, I love you, and I make choices for my life through the perception of love. Just keep that in mind, keep that in your heart space, knowing that as you bring it forth in consciousness, it will be. You will know that when you choose to bring that forward, it's right there. Love goes nowhere. We may shut our eyes, but we can never shut our being away from love. And so it is. Okay, there we go. Good morning. Are you ready to dry up your tears? Are you ready? Say goodbye to your fears. Rev it up, shifting gears, higher and higher till morning appears. Are you ready to come out and play? Are you ready to seize a brand new day? Live it up, don't delay. Magic and mystery and more run away. Now, my friend, now is the time for beginning. Choose again, releasing the need to know exactly how it will go. And I'm ready, really ready. I'm ready to make a new start. Creating my world is a work of art. Make it up, play a part. Stars on my ceiling and joy in my heart. Now, my friend, right now is the time for beginning. Choose again, releasing the need to know exactly how it will go. And I'm ready to make a new start. Creating my world is a work of art. Shake it up, break apart. Stars on my ceiling and joy. Stars on my ceiling and joy. Stars on my ceiling and joy. In my heart, yes, in my heart. Are you ready? Tell me, baby. Tell me, are you ready now? Are you ready? Tell me, baby. Tell me, are you ready now? Are you ready? Tell me, baby. Tell me, are you ready now? Are you ready? Tell me, baby. Tell me, are you ready now? Thank you.
Morning, 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 all. Thank you, Dr. Rani, and thank you, Soul Pajamas. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's virtual service. I am Tracy Rhymes, your host. Our speaker for today is Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, who is our senior minister for the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore. He will deliver another thought-provoking message. Our guest musicians are Soul Pajamas. Serving as practitioner, who also led the pre-service meditation, is Dr. Ronnie Ellington. Assisting with making this service open, inviting, and accessible to the deaf community are our sign language interpreters, Faith Moore and Rainica Permetla. Working behind the scenes, holding things down, is Frank. All right. Now it's time for Dr. Ronnie Ellington to ground us as she sets the tone for prayer. Before she does, I want to share this about her. Dr. Ronnie Ellington is a mathematics education professor, inspirational speaker, and STEM education scholar and mentor. Dr. Ronnie Ellington has spent the last 18 years cultivating herself as a teacher, speaker, scholar, and personal development expert. Trained as a mathematics educator, Dr. Ronnie has authored several scholarly articles on STEM education, parental involvement, and successfully navigating the STEM pipeline, particularly for minority students. As a co-owner in Evoke, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Evoke Life, Dr. Ellington is an expert on transformation learning and I think that's Evoke Life. Okay, sorry. Dr. Ellington is an expert on transformation learning and personal mastery. As a licensed practitioner, she is committed to bringing this teaching to the masses through teaching and is extremely grateful to serve this community in whatever way is aligned with her spiritual mission.
Thank you for that, Tracy. I need to shorten that, give y'all a shorter version, but thank you. So I'm just excited. This is the first month of November, and the theme for the month is living as compassionate conduits. And for those of you who were in the pre-service meditation, you know the key to living as a compassionate conduit is love. And I know that this is a loving community, a loving spiritual community. So as we do the opening prayer, I just want you again to ground yourself in the love, not only for yourself, for others, but for every single event, every single thing. I want you to feel so much love that it's bursting through your cells, your skin, your hair. You're just a ray of love, because as love, you are a conduit for compassion. And this theme for today, so that's the theme for the month, and then today's theme is about divine authority to choose. And the most divine authority you have is to choose love. That's the most powerful choice you could ever make. And then when you choose that, you will then know what to do, what to say, what not to say. So it is in that spirit that we open this service of CSL Greater Baltimore. We are grounded in the love. We are conduits for compassion. We are bringing our full self to this experience. We are taking notes. We are taking it in at a level that is one up from what we've done anytime in the past. So I want you to bring another notch, like heating up the oven, right? You know how you heat up the oven? We're going to go up a few more degrees in presence, in love, in attention. As we embark on this new month, this new theme, we're going to listen powerfully so that we're listening for the gold that Reverend Ray always brings. And we are taking in more and more of that gold for ourselves. We are listening in a way that empowers his speaking, because people do live in your listening. So as you listen powerfully to this message, it actually gives our great Reverend Ray permission to speak even that more powerfully, because our listening is bringing forth the God in him at more and more expanded rates. So it is in that space that we open this service, that we bring our fullness, our love, our compassion, our attention, so that we may walk away from this experience being more expanded conduits for love, as we walk every moment as representatives of Science of Mind teaching, as representative of CSL Greater Baltimore, and representatives of our divine purpose in this world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for you bringing yourself, because if even one of us wasn't here, this experience would be different, because every single person on these screens matter. Every single person matters, so that this day, this lesson will be in its fullness. So thank you so much. Thank you, Reverend Ray, for your genius, for your brilliance. Thank you, Tracy, for your service. Thank you, Frank, and all of those behind the scenes for allowing this to happen. Thank you so much, Home Office, for giving us a space and a place to dig deep into these teachings. So it's in that space that I let this prayer go, and I know that we are opening with a full awareness, with an open receptivity to every single experience today. To our musicians, thank you for being here. We listen to your music and we become the music. And we're just so grateful for this opportunity. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Dr. Ronnie. At this time, excuse me, the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore's community honors the diversity of all religions as represented by this ceremony. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Buddhism is the path of compassion. Christianity is the path of love and forgiveness. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God. Judaism is the path of living by sacred law. Native American practice is the path of indigenous spirituality. Shintoism is the path of rituals and honoring nature. Taoism is the path of ultimate reality. Unitarian Universalist is the path of social justice and sacred activism. Science of Mind and Spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. The heart, excuse me, represents our love for and unity with all life. All right, I have a few announcements for you. Currently, we have 2 weekly ongoing ways to study, learn, and discuss. On Wednesday nights, the Science of Mind textbook exploration group facilitated by Reverend Dr. Ray. And on Thursday nights, the study group facilitated by Dr. Ronnie Ellington. Friendly reminder that the 2021 spiritual journals are in. You can get your copy today by going to shop.csl.org. Membership. If you are interested in becoming a member or renewing your membership, the Discovery class is available online. Contact us at info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org for more information. Sign up for the CSLGB newsletter at www.cslgreaterbaltimore.org for more information. Visit CSL Greater Baltimore and the CSLGB Facebook page, the website, the CSL Greater Baltimore website, and the CSLGB Facebook page for more news and information. Okay, it's that time of service when you get to participate. But before I do that, I have to remind all that today, all are invited to join in the after-service visioning process guided by licensed practitioner Dr. Ronnie Ellington. She does an amazing job. So if you've never experienced visioning, this is a time to do it today so that we can move further and further along or expand as Reverend Ray's vision for CSLGB is led. All right, so now it's that time of service when all get to participate. On 3, 1, 2, 3, prayer works. I heard y'all. I really did. So let's say it one more time. Prayer works. We, as a community, continue to treat and move our feet, knowing the truth for everyone around the planet. Practitioners are available after today's service for one-on-one prayer, and prayer requests can be sent at any time to info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org. Our musical guests. Soul Pajamas started as a duo in 1999, featuring singer-songwriter Dan Johnson as jazz vocalist and jazz vocalist Aaron Johnson. Known throughout the New Thought movement, Soul Pajamas' primary haunts are unity and religious science, now Centers for Spiritual Living, as well as Unitarian and other churches. The songs are empowering, positive, and sometimes spiritual, but never dogmatic or exclusive. Soul Pajamas continues to perform their original music in a duo format at New Thought Centers. To find out more about them and what they are doing, visit their website at soulpajamas.com.
This is a beautiful prayer written by Jane Garrett. This is what I know. We are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part. Everywhere I go, I recognize the faces. All of my relations in this one heart. All I need is already looking through these eyes. Nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet. We are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth. And so I receive all I can be. Now I let go with such appreciation. Sheer exhilaration now, I set it free. And so it is, and so be it. When I sing it, I can see it. I welcome us in, and now we begin. Amen. Amen. This is what I know. Amen. 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 This is what I know.
Thank you. Amen. Now, Dr. Ronnie will lead us in a spiritual practice.
Okay, for those of you who know, there are many, many different spiritual practices that we embody. And one of the ones that I love is spiritual reading and contemplation. It's one, if ever I am confused or think I'm confused, because you're never confused, that's my statement, you're never confused, you're just disconnected. So I was looking for some reading that I thought would be aligned with the message around compassionate choices. And I came across a reading from this organization called compellingtruth.org. And Compelling Truth is a Christian organization, and they give a lot of gems. And so I found this, and I just wanted you to listen to the words and listen to the message of this writing. And embedded in the writing are some spiritual, or some biblical, verses that I just want you to sit and contemplate on. So that's what the practice is just really listening to this writing and letting it just sink in and reflecting on the verses that are a part of this particular writing. Okay, and I made some revisions to make it more science and mind friendly. So just sit with it, and I hope it inspires you the same way. No, I don't. I don't hope. I know it will inspire you the way it inspires me. So this is about knowing the will of God. Knowing the will of God is one of the most important things we can seek in our spiritual walk. The keys to knowing God's will for decisions we make are twofold. First, we must be sure that what we are asking or considering is for the highest good of all concerned and honors the divinity of each soul involved. Second, God's ultimate will for us is always to restore our sense of oneness and help us grow spiritually. If what we want meets these two qualifications and we still don't receive what we are asking for, then we just need to turn within, become still, and know that the will of God is always present in the moment, ready and right for our choosing. And as we still the ego thoughts that plague our minds and fearful perceptions that guide our perceptions, the will of God will become more and more and more present in the moment, like clearing fog from a road. Knowing God's will is in specific situations can be difficult at times. People want God to tell them specifically what to do, where to work, where to live, who to marry, etc. God rarely gives people information in this way, but keep in mind Romans 12, 1 through 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, i.e., do not be conformed by appearances, because the truth is always there no matter what the appearance is. But be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, what is perfect, and what is acceptable. So it is in this verse that we really get the secret to making compassionate choices. Present yourself, your bodies, your temple as a living sacrifice. And when I see sacrifice as a living testimony, as a living vessel for the Spirit, which is love, and make that the guiding force in your decision making. And the more you do that and not be conformed to the world or the appearances, you will know exactly how to act. It will become just as apparent as your hand in front of your face. I promise you that. This passage tells us that obedience to God or love is of the utmost importance. We are to be living sacrifices to Him, offering everything we are, think, and feel. And they use the word Him, but I always use the word love because it's not gender specific. It's to love, to that highest vision of ourselves, to that highest consciousness of love and connection. Because that's what love is. It's all about oneness. So when you surrender to that and you give your life and your bodies as a sacrifice to love, you will know what to do. And it will give you the strength to act on whatever is revealed to you. We also need to deliberately reject the voices that are contrary to His, those ego machinations, as Reverend Michael Beck was talking about, those thoughtings and machinations. Reject those voices and become still, and do not be conformed to the world of fear. Paul explains in Corinthians chapter 2, 11, 16, believers have been given the Spirit of God and can teach God's thoughts at will. But we won't be able to hear Him if our minds is filled with worldly concerns. And the way I say worldly concerns, it's those fear perceptions that can shape our thinking. If your mind is preoccupied with those, the voice of God, that still small voice, will be a whisper, and you may not hear it. But the more you still yourself and you say, okay, I'm in fear, I'm going to let that be, I'm going to sit still, the words will come. Being able to determine God's will in any situation is influenced by our effort to submit to the will of love, the highest version of ourselves, the highest choice we are able to make in any moment, and obey that still small voice as it speaks through as us. But it's also a matter of practice. We shouldn't be so anxious to get it exactly right that we're too paralyzed to act. God knows when we are trying, and it is bigger than our mistakes. God is bigger than any, quote, mistake or missing of the mark that we may think we've done, because we really never miss the mark. We either learn or we keep it moving, right? And the simple act of growing closer to God through obedience, prayer, and loving kindness will reap rewards all its own. That's the spiritual practice. So just contemplate. There was a lot there, and I just invite you to kind of sit with those words as we engage in Reverend Ray's talk for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ronnie. All right, so now it is time to hear from the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore Senior Minister. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Rev, come do what you do.
I'm sure Minister Mo is
Minister Mo is loving that right now. I know it.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So good morning and welcome everybody. Happy November. Happy post-Halloween. Hopefully you're not still high off of candy corn and apple cider and whatever else people serve at Halloween parties. So moving into this month, November, as Dr. Ronnie mentioned a couple of times, the monthly theme is living as compassionate conduits, and today we are specifically focusing on what does it mean to have the divine authority to choose. Often people speak of God's will as if the old anthropomorphic deity is still the one guiding, choosing, and leading us, when in truth, it is saying yes to each of our choices. Pause. Take that in. It is saying yes to each of our choices. Spirit is so giving of itself to itself that it accepts the choices we, as the incarnate beings of divinity, choose. That being said, does it not benefit us to always choose from a place of compassion, self-care, integrity, and goodness? How are we demonstrating our divinity in the choices we make each and every day? So, I feel the need to mention the elephant in the room. So pause for a second. I'm sure you recognize these photos. They're actual documented photos of God. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we already know they're not. But the idea is we have to recognize that there is no anthropomorphic God in this teaching. In our teaching, there is no anthropomorphic God. Let me repeat that. Which means there is no anthropomorphic will of God. God's will is your will. Take that in. Breathe for a moment and take that in. Breathe and take that in. God's will is your will. Because what it is, you are. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. So we often talk about this idea of being at a crossroads. And we get to the crossroad and we say, well, what are the choices? You know, we look in front of us and we see, well, I can either go right or I can go left. I mean, that's the whole point of a crossroad, is there's this branch in front of me and I choose which branch to take. But it's important to recognize that's not the only choice. You can choose to go left or right. You can also choose to walk into the grass. You don't have to stay on the road. Who said you had to stay on the road? You can also choose to go back from whence you came. If you came down I-95 south, you can turn around and go I-95 north. Like, who said you can't make a U-turn and go back the way you came, recalculate, and take a different course? You can also keep going directly forward into the grassy field ahead, into the forest before, and then to the mountains. Like, there are always far more choices when we pause and breathe and recognize. The choices may not always be conscious, and they may not always be initially what we or ultimately desire, yet the choices are always there. Because oftentimes what people say is, well, I didn't have a choice. My boss told me that I had to stay and do the night shift. No, you had a choice. You could have chose to tell your boss no, but he would have fired me. But you had a choice. You chose to stay because you didn't want to be fired, but you had a choice. Well, that doesn't make sense, Ray, because I didn't have a choice. I wanted to keep my job. Right. But you had a choice. To say you did not have a choice is to give your power away. The moment you say, I chose to stay and work the night shift in order that I may keep my job while finding a different job that is more aligned with who I choose to be, where I don't have to work night shifts or whatever. The idea is you chose the most empowered choice rather than I had no choice. I'm at the winds of fate. For dost thou not knoweth that wherever my employer tells me to go, I must bend and fetch it. I must do what I am told to do, for I doth not have a choice. There's always a choice.
Go ahead, Shakespeare.
Thank you. Tracy said, go ahead, Shakespeare, in case y'all didn't hear her. But the thing is, when we are at the crossroad, whatever the crossroad may be, the question is, am I choosing compassion? Are the choices that I am making made from a place of compassion? Are they compassionate choices? Well, in order to understand that, I have to first ask myself, do I know what compassion is? Compassion is love. Compassion is self-care. Compassion is empathy. Compassion encompasses a great deal of things. Compassion is the practice of being empathetic, not sympathetic, empathetic or empathically attuned, and doing what you can to alleviate not only your own suffering, but the suffering of others. The Dalai Lama says, compassion is the wish to see others freed from suffering. So whatever it is, if there is a form of quote-unquote suffering that I am experiencing, then compassion is, what do I do to alleviate this feeling? If I see another person suffering, for example, and use the term suffering loosely for a moment. If I see someone struggling to reach a box of whatever in the supermarket, or I see someone struggling to put their bags in the shopping cart or into their car, I see this. Does compassion say, I see them, quote unquote, suffering, Can I do something to help their suffering be lessened? Can I say, excuse me, would you like me to, be of assistance and get the box for you? Would you like any help moving those bags? Oh, thank you. That is so kind of you. Compassion is what can I do for myself and for others that will help make this a more loving and kind world. Be loving. And as Dr. Ronnie said in the pre-service meditation, be love. Be love itself. Be it. It already is what you are because God is love. Love is a synonym for God. You are the incarnate representation, demonstration of love in human form. So be that. Don't just be, well, I'm a 54-year-old black man in the United States of America and I suffer under the boot of racism and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there is that aspect of, but there is also choosing to say, and yet, if I recognize that what I am is God made flesh, then I can move under, around, and through and live from a higher state of consciousness. It is possible, but I have to choose that. So be loving, be kindness in expression, be it, be compassionate and be compassion in the flesh. Be loving, be kind, be compassionate to you. That's where it's got to start, to you. Am I choosing from a place of compassion? Am I choosing self-care? Am I choosing integrity? And am I choosing goodness? Because when I am doing all of this, because as you do for yourself, you are doing for the world. You are doing for another. What is the evidence of my choices? If I am choosing to be kind, to be loving, to be compassionate, to be empathic, to be attuned to, if I am choosing integrity and goodness, what is the evidence of this? What are the fruits that are being demonstrated as I live, move, and have my beingness as this? Because if that's what I'm doing, then there should be evidence. If I am taking care of myself, then there should be evidence of my self-care. If I am being compassionate to another, there should be evidence. Someone should be able to watch and listen to and observe what I am doing and be able to say, that's what compassion looks like. That's what kindness looks like. That's what nonviolent communication is. Someone should be able to witness this. Ernest Holmes says in the Beverly Hills Lectures, the moment you step out of the ordinary ranks, remember Dr. Ronnie just mentioned this idea of stepping out of the way of the world, the fears of the world, the conditions of the egoic mind and being, in that condition. That's the ordinary ranks. The moment you step out of the ordinary ranks, the moment you step out of the procession that moves endlessly down the aisle, you are in the spotlight of evolution. Your own choice has decided you, and you are no longer going to think as others think. The moment you step out of the same old path of the world, when people say, well, that's the way it's always been, dog eat dog, it's a rat race. That's the way my grandparents were, that's the way my parents were, that's the way I'm going to be, it runs in the family line. It's part of our genes. Everyone in my family is diabetic. We all have sugar, blah, 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 blah. Then you are in the ordinary ranks. You are thinking as others think rather than saying, how do I step out of that procession? How do I step out of the marching down the aisle that is going in this one direction and choose a different course that is more aligned to evolutionary, expanding consciousness? That's what Holmes is referring to. So here we are. What are you choosing with your choices? Are you choosing, because there's an infinite number of choices. When I wake up in the morning, I choose to get out of bed or to stay in bed. I choose to put my alarm clock back on snooze or just turn it off or knock it down. I choose which side of the bed I get up on. I choose if I'm going to brush my teeth first or go to the bathroom first or get the sleep out of my eyes first, or I choose if I'm going to get cereal or oatmeal or Like I choose all of these things. And we don't often think of these as choices we are making, but each of these choices, in one way or another, is turning into a choice that makes us. Because if every morning I wake up, it's Monday, oatmeal for breakfast, Tuesday, oatmeal for breakfast, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, oatmeal for breakfast, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, oatmeal for breakfast. Sooner or later, my choices no longer need to be made consciously because my choices now choose for me, because now it is what is called a habit. I am now acting from habit. If there is addiction, at some point, the choices you have chosen choose for you. I don't choose to drink the alcoholism, the drug addiction, the porn addiction, the whatever, the workaholism, whatever the addiction is now saying, tap, 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 Ray, come here and dance with us. Tap, tap, tap. But I don't want to. Tap, tap, tap. The tap gets harder, the tap gets louder, the tap gets, and then I start going through withdrawal. And now my body feels the ache of, because the choices are choosing for me, because I have chosen them for so long that now it is part of my regularly scheduled programming. That now I'm just acting from default. So we have to be mindful of, what are you choosing with your choices? Are you choosing empowerment with your choices? Are you choosing spiritual enlightenment, spiritual elucidation, spiritual growth with your choices? Or are you choosing to march down the aisle of same old, business as usual, it's just how it is, shit happens? Is that the choices that you're choosing with your choices? We get to choose consciously, or we continue to operate from the choices being made unconsciously, subconsciously. Either way it goes, choices are always occurring. So pause and breathe for a moment and ask, what in me now is being invited to be chosen differently? Being invited to choose from a higher place. Not from the same old, the ranks of the ordinary, the thoughts of the world. As Dr. Ronnie said, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, the machinations of that culture and societal norm. Maybe I don't want to be in that cultural and societal norm that thinks it's normal to run a presidential candidate off the road while driving through Texas. Maybe I don't want to be a part of that machination. So then I have to choose differently. And I have to choose as a minister of this community, I have to get to the point where I'm even choosing higher than that, by recognizing that even those who do such things are still divine beings. And I gotta pause and breathe on that one.
Well.
So we pause and we breathe and we recognize that we get to choose how to show up. There's a bodhisattva, whether it's the bodhisattva Kuan Yin or the bodhisattva Avalokitesvara, either of them. They're both famous bodhisattvas. Kuan Yin is the female embodiment of Avalokitesvara. Either way it goes. I'm sure you're familiar with either of these. Considering the Dalai Lama is considered the embodiment of the living bodhisattva of compassion. The question is, what does it mean to embody? To embody. To, as I said before, to be the very living expression of compassion. Because see, when I'm being compassionate, I can still be a mean SOB and choose occasionally to be compassionate. I can be a person who's addicted to porn and choose occasionally to do something or be something else. I can choose that occasionally. But if I'm going to embody compassion, then it means that that's what I am. that my thoughts are compassionate, that my words are compassionate, that the feelings and my emotions are of compassion, and that the way I show up in the world, walking the walk, I am walking as a living embodiment of compassion in the flesh. If I'm going to embody peace and joy, then it means not just express it, don't just talk about it, but it's what I am. It's what I am. To the degree where I'm not even choosing it anymore, because it is simply the all that I am, and it has become the thoughts, the words, the feelings, the actions. It is who I am. I walk the walk of compassion. Keeping in mind that Ernest Holmes said, the only God you and I will ever know is the one we embody. Never forget that. The only God you and I will ever know intimately is the one we embody. If we know God as an anthropomorphic, angry, mean deity who judges, then it means I've embodied that. Somewhere that is what I have become within myself. If I am recognizing that God is love and power and presence and joy, and I embody that, then that is the very God that I will know. For once again, there is no external anthropomorphic God's will. There is only the will of God in, through, and as each and every one of us to choose in this moment, in this breath, at this time. How am I choosing to embody God? How am I choosing to be it in this form, on this day, at this moment? Raymond Charles Barker says, in the power of decision, an intelligence abides in your subconscious and awaits your call upon it. You may say you do not know what to do. How many of us have said that? I don't know what to do. Like, should I go there or should I do this? Should I date them or should I swipe left or swipe right? What should I do? I don't know what to do. Reverend Ray, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do, rather than knowing what to do within and of yourself. But he goes on to say, but at the center of your mind is the clear decision that you should make. It is right there. Mm-hmm. Well, why is it right there, though? Mm-hmm. I mean, we share sort of the same first name. He says Raymond, I say Raymont. So I'm going to go ahead and expand upon my brother Raymond's words here by saying, but why? It's right there. It what? God is right there. God is right there in, through, and as the very power and presence of all that we are. You've heard me mention this. It's one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes. God in me, as me, is me. You've heard it so much that Tracy's even, she's saying, you know I've said it a lot when Tracy can quote.
Well.
So God is right there. The very center of our being. It's all that we are. And God, being infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, infinite power, knows then what it is and knows that it knows, then it must mean that the very essence of my being also knows. So how often do we choose to know? Rather than saying, I don't know, stand at the crossroad and say, but I choose to be open to knowing. I choose to be willing to know. I choose in this moment to avail myself to the wisdom of the universe that is living itself as me. And I know that it knows, therefore I know that the answer is already within me. And I breathe and allow that answer to come to the surface and the forefront of my mind. I allow the road before me to be highlighted in a way where I see the choice clearly. So rather than say, but I don't know, should I left, should I right, what should I? I choose to be willing to know and breathe and allow. Allow that to show up. Because ultimately what we are is, we are a being of choices. Infinite choices. Everything we do is a choice. What we buy, what we eat, what we wear, who our friends are, who our associates are, where we live. There are so many choices in there. What are we choosing? Recognizing that every choice, as John Maxwell says, every choice, at some point, every choice makes you. So we pause and dude's standing there and he's like, I don't know what to do, Reverend Ray. Tell me, what influences me, Reverend Ray?
Reverend Rev, what?
Reverend Rev, what influences me? And my response to this gentleman is, what influences you? Check this out, let me tell you. Well, there are your religion and your faith influence you. What you read influences you. What else though? Your relationships influence you. Social media influences you. But is that all? No, I'm not done yet.
Oh.
Your environment influences you. TV influences you.
What?
How you see yourself, your self-identity influences you. And last but not least, for this list at least, what we do influences. So all of these things go into influencing how we show up in the choices that we make. If we want to choose compassionately then, we want to choose integrity then, we want to choose how to live as conduits of compassion, then doesn't that mean we need to choose television that is more compassionate? Doesn't it mean we need to read things that are going to nurture compassion and self-care? Doesn't it mean we need to be mindful of our relationships? How many of our relationships? Several weeks ago we talked about our 5 closest friends.
Come on.
Our 5 closest thoughts. And we talked about the influence they have on us. Do we have relationships that encourage us to be not compassionate? How do we see ourselves? Do we see ourselves as flawed, as broken, as incompetent, as old, as ugly, as broken? Because if that's how we see ourselves, that's our identity, then of course we are going to not be compassionate because we're already judging and condemning ourselves. So each of these influences, we are asked to say, are each of these influences that I've chosen or am now going to choose from a higher state, how are they now influencing me? Gary Zukav says, choice is the engine of evolution. If you choose unconsciously, you will evolve unconsciously. If you choose consciously, you will evolve consciously. The power of choice is the greatest gift you have been given, second only to the gift of life itself. Do you choose consciously or choose unconsciously? Which one? It's up to you. So pause for a moment, let's breathe, recognizing that oftentimes we look at our choices, and this is what holds us back from making many choices, because we don't want to make the wrong decision. Which means we are seeing right or wrong. And so we pause. I don't know what to do because I don't want to make the wrong decision. I don't want to choose the wrong thing. Well, I'm here to tell you today that beginning today, November 1st, the year 2020, we are choosing to no longer think in terms of right or wrong choices or decisions. Today, we are choosing to think in terms of what is effective. Is this choice less effective to what I want to do or be? Is it more effective to what I want to do or be? Is it the most effective to what I choose to do or be? If it's less effective, then why choose it?
Come on.
If it's most effective, then why choose more effective if there is a most effective choice? But yet, all of them include that which is effective. It's not judging right or wrong, good or bad. It is a good choice, it's a better choice, or it's the best choice possible. Choice is the essential point of power in the individual. By choosing how to think and what to do from wisdom and compassion, we actualize our potential more fully. There is no belief developed and no action taken without choice. As we bring this process to the level of conscious awakening, we direct our lives from our authentic selves. This week, our application and practice. Let's identify places in our lives where we can choose to be more compassionate towards ourselves. Just simply ask yourself, where in my life can I be more compassionate towards myself? What about myself do I tend to judge or criticize? That I choose this week to compassionately release? What does it mean for me to embody compassion and allow that to radiate from my being in all that I think, speak, feel, and do? What does it mean for me to embody compassion and allow it to radiate from my being in all that I think, speak, feel, and do? What practices do I engage in that nurture my being less compassionate? There are things that we do, there are habits that we have that we know, if we are honest with ourselves, and we have a come to Jesus moment, we know, I'll speak for myself, I know that when I give in, and there's a point where eating cake, ice cream, cupcakes is a dessert. And there's a point with me where if I get into my feelings that I am now using the cake, cupcakes, pie, ice cream as medicine. I am using it to soothe my hurt feelings. I know it. So the question is, when I feel hurt, do I choose to nurture the habit that is a demonstration of me being less compassionate with myself? Do I give in to that which is less effective by eating a dozen donuts in one sitting when I know that's not what is most effective for my health and well-being? And let's say for a moment that I go, I gave in and I ate a dozen donuts and half a gallon of ice cream and a half a pie and 3 slices of chocolate cake. Say I sat down and ate all of that in one setting. It's gone now, it's in me now. In this moment, do I now judge myself for having given in? Because if I do, then I am once again engaging in the habit of shaming and blaming and guilting myself rather than saying, Ray, it's what you chose. How can you in this moment choose differently next time? And in love and compassion for myself in that moment, sit in it, recognize it, but then how do I evolve out of it? And then lastly, what practices can I choose to engage in that will nurture more compassion and thus more and more and more compassionate choices? That's the ultimate goal. What can I do? What practices can I engage in on a daily, moment-by-moment habit, daily, moment-by-moment method, moment-by-moment thinking, speaking, acting, moment-by-moment? What can I do that will increase more compassion in and for myself, more compassionate choices in and for myself? Because the more I embody it, the more it will radiate from me. Today's affirmation and declaration, I will read it first and then we will declare it together. Today, I choose wisely, compassionately, and decisively to express my authentic self. In other words, my divinity in all that I do. Together. Today, I choose wisely, compassionately, and decisively to express my authentic self. In other words, my divinity in all that I do. And we breathe. And we prepare our minds and our hearts, our very consciousness, for the musical gift that we are about to receive from Soul Pajamas. Let's put our hands together in the air, waving like we care so much as we welcome them to the stage. Blessings.
Thank you, Reverend Ray. That was fantastic. I found myself in limbo, afraid to sink or swim, not knowing where I really wanted to go. My mind was full of negative and cynical ideas until I heard this universal law. Reality follows wherever you be, wherever powerful scene, whether you're mine or yes, reality follows, me. Was that an angry mob about to catch me? Oh no, man. Or was I really leading a parade? That's more like it. With gratitude, I have left all I did. Don't curse the lemon, sip the lemonade. Reality follows wherever you lead, wherever you lead. 'Cause every single thought is a powerful seed, whether you're mine or yes, reality follows, an idea in your mind, connection in your heart. I believe you will find the stepping stone to bring it to life. Well, I wrote the screenplay of my own life story, and naturally I cast myself as me. My name is like my stars, sure rising. This is no fairy tale, no fantasy. Reality follows wherever you lead, wherever you lead. 'Cause every single thought is a powerful seed, whether you're mine or reality follows, reality follows, wherever you lead, it follows you, wherever you lead. It's a powerful seed, whether you're mine or reality follows, reality lives on. Reality lives on. Reality lives on. Thank you.
Yes. Amen. Woo. So, wow, thank you for that. That's, yes. So before we go into tithes and offerings and what all that means, because part of what it means is this idea of being in community, I feel that it is my responsibility to break into song.
Uh-oh.
Happy birthday, Dana. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dana. We all love you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
I hope you can hear Tracy. So, yes. Singing is, oh, yes. Oh, man, wow. Blessings, Dana. Happy birthday. So, it's important to recognize that the practitioner core of CSL Greater Baltimore has, and you're going to want to listen to this very carefully, has pledged by the end of this year, December 2020, that the Prac Corps will pledge $5,000, which is in addition to what they are tithing already to the center.
Woo-woo!
Thus far, we're at $4,222.50.
Woo!
There was also the pledge made by the community to match that $5,000, And thus far, the community has pledged 750. Now, someone, don't know who it is, someone has pledged that they will match whatever the community matches. So if the community matches 1,000, whoever this individual is, they will match the 1,000. If the community matches 3,000, then they will match the 3,000. They will match whatever the community matches up to $5,000. So if the practitioners pledge 5,000 and the community matches that 5,000, then whoever this person is will give 5,000 as well. That means CSL Greater Baltimore will then have $15,000 moving into our greater yet to be, our expansion. Just hold that in mind and in your prayers as we move into what it means to tithe and donate via PayPal, text messaging, or the postal mails, because that works too. Not many people actually send things in the mail, but it's an option. So know that you can write a memo to designate a certain portion to emergency care, compassionate care, to the education ministry, to hospitality. Like, you can donate or divide your tithe to certain things, however you choose. If you want more information, feel free to email myself or members of the board. You can also go to our website, cslgreaterbaltimore.org/giving, for more information. Our prosperity declaration. Together with me, let us declare what we know to be true for ourselves individually and collectively as a beloved community. I joyfully, consciously, and gratefully participate in the law of circulation. I trust in the spiritual principle that says, as I sow into my beloved community, I demonstrate my awareness of standing not only in the flow, but as the flow itself. As I sow of myself, my time, my treasure, my talent, I demonstrate my support and engagement in my community's vision, mission, and purpose. I actively give as a demonstration of manifesting, of reaping the harvest of a world that works for all. Amen. So here we are at that time of service.
Whoop, whoop.
Tracy encourages and invites everyone to make today an awesome day. No matter what that means, wherever you are, no matter how gray it is outside, doesn't mean you choose less than awesome. It means you choose compassion, you choose awesomeness, you choose to simply be as great and beautiful and as magnificent as you are already. Be it. Reminder that today after service, you can have one-on-one prayer with a practitioner. If that is your desire, then type prayer into the chat box so Tracy knows and we'll be able to place you in a breakout room for prayer. If you are staying for visioning, type visioning so Tracy knows that you are here for visioning. If you are staying for prayer and visioning, type both so Tracy knows that you are staying for both. We good?
Cool. We're good.
So at this time, just a reminder that in a moment, Frank and Tracy will unmute everyone so you can share the love, greet and say hello and wish Dana a happy birthday and tell Minister Mo how magnificent her unicorn horn and glasses look, and, you know, just love on everybody, pour love into everybody. So recognizing that just because this moment that we call service, this moment that we call gathering together in community, just because this moment right here is coming to an end, what it means to be in service continues. What it means to be God in this form continues, knowing that it continues forever. That just because this body may be shed doesn't mean that what we are ends. What we are, it says in the we believe in our own spirit, our own soul, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. We, God in this form, the infinite I am that is ever becoming, is eternity itself. And so as service ends, we go out and be of service. We go out and serve one another, serve the world to such a degree that we transform this planet into a world that works for all. That there is no bipartisan yada yada, there is no war, there is no strife, there is no hunger, there is no peace, joy, blessings, that there is one world, one life living itself, and this life is love made flesh. And so we serve in order to manifest and demonstrate that, knowing that this prayer is already answered because it is already in the mind of God. I surrender it in gratitude, and together we declare it by saying, and so it is. Blessings, everyone.
Namaste.